The next speaker for today is Sasha Samuels. Sasha Samuels is a local artist who recently visited Ukraine to paint Ukrainian defenders who are undergoing rehabilitation in Superhumans and Unbroken. Sasha proposed and co-curated a major exhibition of contemporary Ukrainian trench art at the Museum of International Folk Art in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It opened in June of last year and runs through April 20th of this year. Sasha is a great friend of Ukraine. Please welcome Sasha to the stage.
Thank you, everyone. It's such a privilege to be here. After Russia's full-scale invasion, I was sending money to NGOs, and it just didn't feel like enough. I wasn't doing enough. And over time, I had the idea, and I mustered up the courage to go to Ukraine and paint some of the soldiers, as I'm a professional artist, and look them in the eye, thank them for their service, thank them for not just protecting their homeland and their friends and their communities and their families, but also for protecting all of Europe and democracy itself. So I went, I had no appointments. I found a homestay family. I found a friend to get me over the border, and that's where the adventure started. So I started out at Superhumans. I contacted somebody there, and they were scheduling an interview to see if I could handle what I was going to see. And I passed the interview, and I got in there, and I received a text from a woman named Yulia saying, hey, we're from this television station, national television station from Ukraine. We would like to come and interview you painting the soldiers. Now, my goal was to paint 10 guys, maybe help 10 guys and their families. I was not expecting to be on national television in Ukraine. So that was pretty awesome. The interview went great. The guys loved being painted. We had a really good time. And I want to emphasize, going into this rehabilitation center, I was kind of bracing myself what I was going to see. I knew there were going to be a lot of amputees. There was going to be a lot of dark humor. It was one of the most positive buildings I've ever had the privilege of spending time in. Everybody there is getting really robust psychological support, trauma support. This is the first trauma-informed war in human history. So the rehabilitation efforts are amazing. So if you're supporting Superhumans or Unbroken, understand that your dollars are really going far. So painting the guys, the next morning I was scheduled to go to Unbroken and paint some more guys. Now, by the way, I would say 90% of the gentlemen I painted were civilians. We had a international delivery driver, an IT specialist, a carpenter, several artists. They were all volunteers at the front. These were not professional soldiers. So I really want to emphasize that. It would be like you or I going to the front. So I get another text from Yulia saying, hey, we'd like to interview you at Unbroken. And I texted back. It was a different number than yesterday. And I said, well, you know, it went so well at Superhumans. I'm excited that you want to interview me again. This is great. And she texted back, what are you talking about? It was a different television station that wanted to broadcast what I was doing again. So, you know, the short moral of the story, if you help, your help may go much further than you realize. Never underestimate your strength and your power if you lean into something with courage. After painting the guys, one of them walked up to me. He had a prosthetic leg, and he said, hey, are you afraid to get into a car with a guy with one leg? And I said, you know, I'm from New York. I'm not afraid of anything. And he said, okay, my friends are having an art exhibition. Would you like to come? And I said, of course. So we're walking to his car. I'm assuming it's a car, like we all have a car. This was this beautiful BMW tricked out in exquisite camouflage. We get in, it's cream leather, upholstery, you know, burled wood. He turns on the radio, and the song You're in the Army Now is playing. We're flying down these side streets, and I'm realizing, you know, we're going way too fast. But I feel comfortable with this guy. He's seen a lot, you know, he's hypervigilant. He's going to get me there safely. So we get to this exhibition, and one of the most exquisite pieces of art was so moving. It was a shoulder-held rocket launcher that had been painted beautifully, and someone had dropped a virtual reality behind it So if you photographed it with your phone and moved it, you could see this incredible reality. And I thought, my God, this needs to be in a show. The West needs to see this. So shortly after, I started finding out people were painting helmets and bullet casings and everything imaginable, all this war detritus. And so I contacted the Museum of International Folk Art in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I sent them these images, and I said, you have to do a show of this. This is so relevant. This is so important to get this message out. And they got the funding, and in their Gallery of Conscience, they invited me to co-curate my first major museum exhibition. Again, this was not something I was originally signing up for, but again, leaning into doing something with courage, you have no idea what impact you might have. So the show we put together in 6 months. I was told normally a show of this complexity would take a year or two. We were told it would be impossible to get these objects out of Ukraine. We wound up having 65 objects for the exhibition. Tens of thousands of people have walked through this gallery, and more will be seeing this. These are people from all over the world visiting Santa Fe to see art. These are Americans who vote. So this was a really powerful reminder of what Ukraine is going through. And I think that's about it. I'm going to wrap up there and just say, again, support Ukraine in any way you can. Understand that your support may go much further than you realize. And Slava Ukraini.
Thank you so much, Sasha.